West Coast rapper turned entertainer Ice Shape has been shaking the Hollywood elites of late. And in all honesty, he appears to be valiant here, this well who advantages and benefits off our quarreling in our division. 3D Square has left on a bench to uncover the individuals who utilize Hollywood to make their levy, blaming them for imprisoning individuals of color, same individuals who own the marks on the penitentiaries, and in any event. Talking against desired inoculation, during this interview individuals being harassed into doing things that they would have rather not done. A lot of them didn't need yet blocks hoodlum versus will not be guaranteed to safeguard him from the long and deadly arms of the Hollywood tip-top. And presently a portion of his kindred VIPs dread the F-police hitmaker may wind up dead, so go are a portion of the business monsters who have straightforwardly shown worry for Ice Solid Shape security. And what have they expressed? Stay close by to figure out. The main individual who accepts Ice Shape will require security is another Hollywood informant, jokester, and entertainer, Dave Chappelle Party. And annoys them, the Club of Guardians. Ice Shape has as of late been reprimanding Hollywood and taking steps to uncover a portion of the things happening around him. This helps us to remember Dave Chappelle's admonition that nobody ought to go facing Hollywood, since Ice Shape is at last going to let the cat out of the bag. He really wants Hollywood's best insurance. In a notable video cut, comic Dave Chappelle says Hollywood is wiped out, not insane as individuals generally say regarding superstars. Back in 2006, the entertainer and humorist did a meeting with James Lipton for Inside the Entertainer's studio. During the meeting, Chappelle discussed the debilitated and cavalier culture in Hollywood that prompted many individuals being called insane. He additionally discussed how terrible Hollywood culture could be and the way in which terrible things by and large happened. When individuals got some distance from it, they would lose cash popularity, and in some cases, even their lives, like every one of the specialists and performers who evidently passed on in the wake of attempting to compose Tell-All book. And some of you might not have understood that I'm not piece of the club. Now the consistently disputable rapper turned entertainer Ice 3D Shape has taken to Twitter to pronounce he will zest things up in an impending digital broadcast visit that takes steps to copy a couple of extensions, proposing that possibly he never truly tuned in, or he doesn't mind truly he started the video by saying he wasn't essential for the Hollywood Select Club, and that subsequently he needs to manage additional difficulties from Watchmen basically, in light of the fact that he's not a piece of them. He said that his status was keeping individuals from focusing on the enormous 3B Ball association he helped to establish with Diversion chief Jeff Quatnett's block had recently stood out as truly newsworthy by guaranteeing he had been boycotted from showing up in Hollywood, since he would not get the sought-after shot. Some of you may not understand that I'm not an individual from the club, and a significant number of you paying attention to me right currently are not individuals from the club. Possibly he proceeded to say that he picked up something fascinating about the club individuals, to be specific that it truly disturbed them when untouchables communicated little revenue in joining. This acknowledgement alone could creep anybody out, as it demonstrates their animosity toward him for not being an individual from their club. When asked what club am I referring to, Ice 3D Shape alluded to this Hollywood tip-top as GARS. That restrictive gathering of Watchmen is something we've all needed to haggle with both you and they know about one another's characters. Presently back in 1996, when terrible young men star Martin Lawrence hurried into the roads of Los Angeles with a stacked gun, Dave Chappelle was giving representation of how hazardous Hollywood culture can be anyway. There was a clouded side to his achievement, in spite of Chappelle's case that he was enlivened by Lawrence's accomplishments. He said that Lawrence experienced a stroke and almost kicked the bucket while advancing their movie blue streak, yet that for some odd reason, in the wake of being hospitalized, Lawrence informed him, I got the best rest of my life. in the event that an extreme and rich person like Lawrence can track down more delight in being hospitalized than anything more than. At that point, obviously no measure of progress us can save anybody from Hollywood, and consequently Ice Shape ought to be concerned the following thing Dave said was an exceptionally charming inquiry. So allow me to posture to you this what's going on in Hollywood, that a person that extreme will be on the road, waving a weapon shouting they are attempting to kill me. He even discussed Mariah Carey, an extremely effective figure in media outlets, who had marked a worthwhile arrangement at the time inquiring as to for what reason is Mariah Carey making a $100 million arrangement, and afterward taking her garments off on TRL Dave. Then said that something was happening in Hollywood that nobody truly realized about, and that it was deteriorating in light of the fact that solid and great individuals were presently being called frail and insane. And tossed out, he said, as would be natural for him, individuals are not insane, they're resilient individuals. Perhaps the climate is a little debilitated. He has been scrutinizing Hollywood himself, which stunned fans and the amusement business. All in 2005 Dave quit, making the stunningly renowned Chappelle's show on the spot, and went out traveling to South Africa. He had said that he could have done without where the show was going, and that he really wanted opportunity to believe about the fact that it is so unpleasant to be at the center of attention at the time. Chappelle's choice to leave the show implied he was breaking a $50 million contract with Funny TV at the time. A sensationalist newspapers believed Chappelle's choice to pass on was because of medication use or emotional illness. Gives this returns to what he had said before, that in the event that something significant happened to a craftsman they would be discounted as insane or similarly, as with him have drug and psychological well-being issues. From that point forward, Chappelle has come back in front of an audience yet ice blocks. And every other person ought to heed the guidance he gave now. When Ice 3D Square, as of late, gotten down on Hollywood, he said that the business was keeping him out and appeared to fault his agreement with Dark America, which he wrote to begin a discussion about racial issues, remembering repayments. Back for the day, Ice 3D Square requested that Hollywood studios effectively compensate for every one of the awful things that had been finished to dark specialists in the diversion business. For a really long time, he made a record called An Agreement with Dark America to discuss police severity in the U.S. and to attempt to dispose of greater pockets of foundational prejudice. He said that Hollywood had been unreasonable to individuals of color for quite a while, and that studios that needed to compensate for it ought to surrender cash to set dark-run studios, so that individuals of color could recount their own accounts without the standard Hollywood framework, disrupting everything. He added, I simply believe it's a type of repayments from media outlets, assuming they all needed to put a specific measure of cash into the studio every year as installment for all the harm they've done to individuals of color. Anything the rapper is attempting is truly great for the African American population. Yet what is the final plan that stresses Chappelle? Will he end up like Whitney or Ruler or Jamie Foxx? The truth will surface at some point. The second huge name, who is really anxious about where Ice Solid Shape is taking and handling this.